Warriors, Misty Star's Omen by Erin Hunter. Chapter 4. But you've been our medicine cat for so long. Have you never walked with StarClan in your dreams? Mothwing shook her head. You have your beliefs, she meowed calmly. I have mine. The cats you see in your dreams guide and protect you in ways that I have lived without. I am skilled at healing and caring for my clanmates, and that has been enough to serve my clan. Misty Star's mind was whirling. Surely this couldn't be happening. How could a medicine cat not believe in StarClan? Why had none of the cats said anything to her during the 9 Lives ceremony? They must know that Mothwing never walked with them. What about omens? Did StarClan bother to send any if Mothwing would never be watching for them? She took a step forward, suddenly desperate to get back to the lake, to find a footing for her paws on the ground that seemed to have shifted. Come on, let's go home. As Mothwing followed her up the paw-printed path, Misty Star thought she heard the medicine cat murmur, I'm sorry, but there was nothing she could think of to say in reply. They traveled quickly and in silence, leaping and scrambling down the tumbled rocks until they were standing on the short, sprinkling grass of WindClan's territory once more. Scents from ThunderClan drifted to them across the narrow stream that marked the boundary between the two clans. Let's stop and tell Firestar what has happened, Misty Star suggested. The other leaders would have to learn about Leopardstar's death sometime. Mothwing nodded. They jumped over the stream and trotted down the other side until they reached a clear path that led into the trees. Fresh ThunderClan scent hung in the air. They had clearly just missed a patrol. Misty Star took the lead along the trail, reminding herself that she was a clan leader now, and had every right to visit her neighbors with this important news without being accused of trespassing. But it still felt strange to be walking in another clan's territory without constantly looking over her shoulder, wary of ambush. They reached the gap in the walls of the hollow and forced their way in through the thorns. Misty Star shook her head to dislodge the prickles that had caught in her nose. She didn't know how the ThunderClan cats put up with such an uncomfortable entrance to their home. Firestar was crossing the clearing to meet them. Is everything all right? Misty Star stood still and waited for him to reach her. Leopardstar is dead, she announced. Firestar lowered his head. I'm so sorry, he whispered. We've just come from the moon pool, Mothwing explained. Misty Star has received her 9 lives. Firestar dipped his muzzle even lower. Misty Star, he mewed respectfully. Misty Star, echoed Greystripe, a sturdy Tom whom Misty Star had known since he was an apprentice back in the forest. Misty Star, called the other ThunderClan cats. Misty Star felt a bit uncomfortable. She had never liked being the center of attention, and it seemed all the more strange because she was still getting used to her new name. Thank you, she mewed, and the cats were silent. I have chosen Reed Whisker as my deputy. We look forward to a long and fair relationship with ThunderClan. Firestar raised his head and lightly touched her muzzle. How's RiverClan? His tone was lighter, more relaxed. Now that the formal greeting was over, he sounded more like the cat Misty Star had known and confided in for so long. She told him about the loss of 3 elders and that the drought had hit the whole clan hard. Firestar was sympathetic, and Jayfeather offered Mothwing some herbs to replenish her stock, including watermint. Laden with green-scented leaves, the RiverClan cats retraced their steps through the trees. When they broke out into the open and reached the stream again, Misty Star put down her mouth full of herbs. Does Jayfeather know that you don't believe in StarClan? She mewed. Mothwing nodded. What does he think? Mothwing carefully placed her herbs on a tussock of grass. He knows that I am a good medicine cat and will do anything to help my clan. Misty Star stared at her clanmate in frustration. How could she be so calm and accepting? She longed to ask Mothwing about omens and dreams and ceremonies, all the responsibilities of a medicine cat that involved trusting in the unseen presence of their warrior ancestors. But standing in ThunderClan territory, still a long way from home, wasn't the right place for that conversation. The questions would have to wait. Misty Star picked up her herbs and leaped over the stream. Mothwing followed, and they picked their way down to the edge of the lake to walk along the shore, which lay outside WindClan territory. As they neared the border with RiverClan, a Wind Clan patrol spotted them and raced up, bristling, but their fur flattened when Misty Star told them about Leopardstar's death, and the warriors offered sympathy and congratulations to Misty Star on receiving her 9 lives. They promised to tell One Star as soon as they returned to the camp. Misty Star realized that she should let Black Star of ShadowClan know as well, but by the time she reached the RiverClan camp, her paws were too weary to walk another step. She wanted to be at full strength when she first met Black Star as his equal, another clan leader with the power to challenge him if one of his warriors so much as placed a whisker over the shared border. There was too much history between Misty Star and the ShadowClan leader. The memory of him killing Stonefur was too sharp for her ever to contemplate an alliance with his clan. Reed Whisker met her as she limped toward her den. Did you meet with our ancestors? Do you have your 9 lives? Mrs. Star nodded. Yes, I do. She forced herself to lift her head higher. With StarClan's blessing, I will lead this clan until the last breath of my last life. Hooray, Misty Star! Her clanmates cheered, but Misty Star noticed Mothwing standing at the edge of the clearing, her gaze troubled. Mothwing said you'd seen Firestar in a Wind Clan patrol, Reed Whisker meowed. Would you like me to take the news to Black Star? Misty Star blinked gratefully at her deputy. Thank you, she mewed. Make sure you return before it gets dark. Reed Whisker dipped his head and raced off. Misty Star watched him dive into the bushes on the far side of the clearing. She wondered if his littermates were watching from StarClan. She would have to tell Reed Whisker that one of her lives came from his brother Perch Kit. Misty Star. Dappanos was standing a little way off. We're going to bury Leopardstar now. Would you like to join us? Of course, Misty Star meowed. She stretched her legs to ease some of the stiffness. Sleep could come later. Almost the whole clan gathered in the clearing by the lake to watch the elders gently scoop earth over Leopardstar's body. Mothwing stood by the former leader's head and spoke the words of the ceremony, letting them drift in the air like scent. May StarClan light your path, Leopardstar. May you find good hunting, swift running, and shelter when you sleep. Misty Star stared at Mothwing's golden pelt, wondering what the other cats would do if they knew the truth. Misty Star was surrounded by clanmates. Their cheers of her new name still echoed in her ears, yet she had never felt more alone. How could she lead her clan without a medicine cat who believed in their warrior ancestors? Why had none of the StarClan cats told her the truth? Were they angry with RiverClan for having a medicine cat who could never fulfill all her duties? And yet they had still given Misty Star her 9 lives. After the ceremony, Misty Star headed to Leopardstar's den beneath the rowan tree and started to pull out the dusty bedding. A matted chunk of moss got stuck at the entrance to the den, and Misty Star dug in her hind paws as she struggled to yank it free. Graymiss joined her, and together they tugged the moss into the open air. It smelled damp and musty, making Misty Star sneeze. You must be exhausted, Graymiss commented. Why does everyone keep telling me how tired I must be? I'm fine, Misty Star snapped, a little more sharply than she intended. Graymiss tipped her head on one side and studied Misty Star. Is everything okay? You seem upset. Misty Star shrugged as she clawed at the chunk of moss, breaking it into small pieces that would be easier to carry out of the camp. There's a lot to do, she mewed, and I miss Leopardstar. We all do, Graymiss reminded her. But there's no rush for you to fill her paw steps. With all the clans still recovering from the drought, things should be peaceful for a while. Don't be too hard on yourself. Misty Star felt a sudden urge to confide in Graymiss about Mothwing, to tell her how lost she felt without a medicine cat who would be able to share tongues with StarClan. But this was too huge a secret to share with her clanmates. She would have to find a way of dealing with this alone. She touched Graymiss slightly on the flank with her tail. I'm fine, she meowed. I'll clear this away later. I just want to get some sleep now. Graymiss looked doubtful. What about clean bedding? Shall I have the apprentices fetch some for you? Misty Star shook her head. I can sleep on what's left. I'll add it to their duties tomorrow. Graymiss trotted away, and Misty Star crawled into the narrow den beneath the rowan tree. Even though the moss had been cleared out, Leopardstar's scent still clung to the walls and the branches overhead. Misty Star curled up with her nose tucked under her tail and shut her eyes. As she drifted into sleep, she wondered if she would dream herself back into StarClan, or she could question her ancestors about Mothwing. But instead, she found herself searching through a dark, empty landscape, with the sound of running water just out of reach and no cats to answer her cries. She was woken the following day by the sound of the rowan branches clashing in the wind. A few leaves tumbled into the den, blown by a gust that pierced Misty Star's fur. For a moment, Misty Star stared at the curved earthen walls around her, wondering where the other warriors were. Then she remembered that Leopardstar was dead. She was now the leader of RiverClan, and this would be her den for the rest of her life. My 9 lives. Outside, she heard Mothwing giving Willowshine instructions. Thanks, Jayfeather. We have plenty of buttermint and tansy, but our stocks of comfrey are running low, and we should gather more while the plants are still growing. I used most of our cobwebs on Rushpaw's cut when he fell off the tree trunk, so we need to stock up on those too. Misty Star recalled Willowshine's offer to come to the moon pool with her, and she felt her stomach churn as she realized Mothwing's apprentice must know the truth about her mentor's lack of faith. There was such a large part of her training that could never come from Mothwing. Had Willowshine spoken to the other medicine cats about it? Misty Star pushed herself to her paws, feeling every one of her seasons as she stretched her spine. She padded out of her den just as Willowshine was making for the entrance to the camp. "Wait, Willowshine, I'll come with you." The medicine cat turned, looking surprised. Okay, Misty Star." Misty Star saw Mothwing watching them from the far side of the clearing. The golden cat's expression was impossible to read. Was she afraid that Willowshine might say what Willowshine might say, or was she relieved that the truth was out? Misty Star ducked through the gap in the bushes and fell in beside Willowshine as they pushed their way through the dripping ferns. "Yuck!" squeaked Willowshine, as a leaf spilled sparkling raindrops onto her neck fur. "We need the rain," Misty Star reminded her, swerving to avoid a particularly wet-looking clump of stalks. "Couldn't it fall at night and let us stay dry during the day?" Willowshine complained, half joking as she shook her pelt. "Perhaps you should put in a request to StarClan," Misty Star teased back. Willowshine was negotiating a prickly tendril that lay across the path. "I'll try," she replied, sounding amused. "So how's the training going?" Misty Star asked, hoping that her question didn't sound forced. Willowshine swerved to avoid a puddle. "It's great," she mewed. "Mothwing's teaching me how to combine herbs to make them more effective. She knows so much about plants. I don't know if I'll ever be able to learn it all." "I'm sure you will," Misty Star meowed. "What about the StarClan side of your duties? Has she taught you about that too?" Misty Star had drawn level with Willowshine now, so she could see the little cat blink and look away. "Mothwing is the best mentor I would wish for," she replied. Her evasive answer spoke volumes to Misty Star. She knows that Mothwing doesn't believe in StarClan. For a moment, Misty Star was torn. She didn't want to challenge Willowshine's loyalty and respect for her mentor, but how could they ignore the fact that Mothwing could not fulfill all her medicine cat duties? Misty Star stopped and turned to face Willowshine. "I know the truth," she mewed. "Mothwing didn't come with me to StarClan when I received my 9 lives. That's why you offer to come, isn't it?" Willowshine nodded, her eyes full of pain. "It's not Mothwing's fault. She's the best medicine cat RiverClan could have. But what about visiting the moon pool, sharing tugs with StarClan, organizing signs from our ancestors? Those are all part of a medicine cat's responsibilities," Misty Star pointed out. "I can take care of those," Willowshine insisted. She rolled a piece of fern under her front paw. "When I started training, Leafpool visited me in my dreams. She helped me learn the things that Mothwing couldn't teach me. I know enough to help. I promise." Misty Star shook her head. "I'm sure you do, little one, but you are too young to carry all that responsibility alone. Mothwing should have said something long before we got this far." Willowshine's fur fluffed up and she opened her mouth to speak, but Misty Star raised one paw to stop her. "Don't say something you might come to regret, Willowshine," she warned. "This isn't up to you now. Go collect the herbs from Mothwing, and I'll see you back in the camp." Willowshine shut her mouth with a snap and thrust her way into the long grass. Misty Star watched her go for a moment, then turned and headed back to the clearing. Mothwing was standing in the center of the empty camp, as if she was waiting for her. "Did you speak with Willowshine?" Mothwing asked. Misty Star nodded. "We have a loyal and brave apprentice," she remarked. "I couldn't be more proud of her," Mothwing agreed. "But my relationship with StarClan has nothing to do with her. You shouldn't have questioned her about it." "It has everything to do with her," Misty Star flashed back. "You are supposed to be training her to be a medicine cat. That means being able to walk in StarClan and speak with our warrior ancestors." Mothwing's hackles rose. "I have never stopped Willowshine from doing that. I would never tell her what she should believe. But you should believe in StarClan too. You are our medicine cat. Can't you see that you are betraying your clan by living your entire life as a lie?" "I am not lying," hissed Mothwing. "I have never pretended to do anything I cannot." Misty Star glared at her old friend. "Actually, I think you have. You have risked the safety of your clan by not being able to read signs from StarClan or walk with their ancestors at the moon pool. I'm sorry, Mothwing, but you can no longer consider yourself a medicine cat."